Hello my friends and welcome to a new video. Today a review of a much anticipated piece of hardware, the CAMMUS C5. Now I say much anticipated, why? Because of the technology, because of the form factor, because of the price. I mean, it is just a very interesting package to start with. The design, both for infrastructure and aesthetics, is one of the things that makes the C5 stand out. Because the motor is essentially driving the steering wheel without any driving shaft, quick release or button box, the mass that needs to be moved is much less. Because of the lower mass and for the sim racing industry innovative design, where the steering wheel is actually a part of the motor, it generates a holding or continuous torque of 5 Nm, but a maximum torque of up to 7 Nm. And this also gives the C5 its unique appearance. The central part is 7 cm deep and the steering wheel measures 28 cm. The D-shaped steering wheel is clad with leather, which is exceptional in this price category. The center disc is made of carbon fiber and features a lot of buttons. There are a total of 12 black generic buttons, a D-pad and the traditional console's buttons A, B, C, D. Another great feature are the rotary buttons. They are not too easy to shift, which avoids changing values by mistake. Another addition is the rev bar on the top of the carbon plate and a very funky looking retro speedometer above the CAMMUS logo. A last thing to add would be the unique shifters. You will shift quietly with 2 pedals, 4 cm in length and only 1 cm in width. They are both made of plastic. The back of the wheelbase provides a USB-B connection for PC, 2 USB-C connections for peripherals, a power and a reset button, the 3-pins connector for the fan and the plug for the PSU. The pedals included in the package can be considered very basic. They are made completely out of steel and feel very sturdy. The measurements of the brake and accelerator happens with Hall sensors, so very precise and efficient. The springs used in the pedals is relatively stiff and the brake is twisted once more around the axis to make it more sturdy than the accelerator. The pedal base is much in the same line as the wheelbase, compact and light. Connection to the wheelbase happens with the included USB-C cable, but there is also an RJ port in the back of the pedal base. The USB-C connection also lets you connect the pedals directly to your PC, something that is certainly not a standard with other entry-level pedals. So some extras that come in the box are to start with some attachments, small attachment beams that you can attach the wheelbase directly to your rig. It also comes with something I adored, is 2 stickers that you can just put on the lower rotary buttons to just brighten up the entire disc, the carbon disc a bit. A very nice touch. And it also comes, like I said before, with an external fan. To be honest, I didn't really know what to expect before I started up ACC and configured the buttons. I cranked up the power to 90% to let it show what it was worth, and it didn't take long before I was intensely driving laps around the track. My initial feeling was that it is really powerful and even more than what I experienced from the competition with similar spec motors. The corners feel very detailed and so do the road details. Here, it was harder to say if the detail was better or worse than other wheelbases. I found for myself that there was plenty of detail for corners and road behavior, and it was especially the directness that made an impact. The return to center of the steering wheel was instant and powerful. Everything just felt very crisp and refined. I normally say that I could use a bit more power when it comes to wheelbases of 5 Nm, but I don't have that much of an urge when it comes to the C5. When it comes to shifting, once I was driving, I had 2 fingers on it and each shift felt really snappy and precise. The size of them was in no way hindering me. The leather wheel feels very pleasant to touch and I feel plenty of grip on it. The same sentiment was there in Beam and G. A very interesting sensations where the details were high and the steering was fast and snappy. It is hard to say something bad about this wheelbase, but if there was something, I have to say that the wheelbase did heat up quite a lot after the session. Not surprisingly really, since I had been pushing it very hard in terms of force feedback. The base doesn't have any internal active cooling, like the other entry-level wheelbases, but as said before, can be equipped with the included fan. This fan can however only be integrated in the optional desktop clamp and not directly to the wheelbase. The pedals, on the other hand, are basic and don't really excel like the wheelbase does. It's a shame really, but on the other hand it's common for entry-level pedal bases. The remarks that I have for it is that both the feeling of the brake and the accelerator feel very much alike. I know there should be a difference because of hardware-wise they are different, but the feeling is much too subtle. Something that I really miss is some damper for the brake too. This could be accomplished with a foam, much like the Fanatec CSL pedals, or some plastic cone, like the Thrustmaster T3PA pedals. The pedal arms and faces look small and could be a bit bigger for my taste. Perhaps here it would be an opportunity for CAMMUS to sell some upgrade kit for the pedals, but again, technically these pedals perform how they should. In short, it exceeded my expectations in many ways and it made a more than solid impression when driving it. I can really commend CAMMUS for doing the work with their software. Okay, I have to admit, it's not there at the level of the Mosa software yet, but I have to say that it was really user-friendly to get it up and running. I mean, in no time actually did I create a good feeling in both ACC and BeamNG with this wheelbase. You can start racing with the wheelbase and the pedals for $300. There is also you can also just buy the wheelbase for $250 and the attachment for your desk, the desk clamp, you can buy for an additional $29. So a remark that I had in my previous video for the DDW B21 is that it is still not that available in Europe especially, and they are working on it, because if you go look on their site at this moment, they have like $300, and then you have like another C5, and if you're lucky, well, it doesn't say if you're lucky, but you can find this product in overseas warehouses as well. And then you have like a tab overseas warehouses where you can find a warehouse, for example, in France that has a C5 and for a very moderate price too. Because you don't have to forget, if it is shipped from China towards Europe, you pay not only a reasonably high amount for the shipment, because I think it is 80 to 100 euro shipment, but also the taxes. So the taxes here in Europe is 20% that you have to add to the price that you pay for it, which will bring it then at the same level as a Fanatec. Of course, on Fanatec you also have to pay shipment, but there the tax is already included. So then it becomes really less interesting to compare the both. But with the warehouses in Europe, the prices are dropping too. For conclusion, I would say that this package amazed me in many ways. The downside of it is the lack of console compatibility and the soberness of the pedals. It does have, however, the smallest form factor of any of the wheelbases I have tested so far, and is really a portable solution. It reminds me a lot of the Logitech wheels actually, with non-exchangeable leather steering wheel, compactness and price. And in my opinion, this would be a fine succession for it when it comes to the recommended base to buy when just starting out with sim driving. It deserves it. Thank you all for watching. Sorry for my voice, I have a bit of a cold, so I hope it didn't disturb you too much. If you buy new hardware, please buy via an affiliate link, and also use the 5% discount, the Neosphinx. If you give in Neosphinx on their site, you get the 5% discount on your order too. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.